Hello everybody, it's your good friend Pozzible here, and I'm joined with Cody and Kenny. And today we're discussing the state of the movies. We're going to be talking about how things are going for independent filmmakers, where they're at, and how they can get up to that, I don't want to say studio level, because the problem with the studio level is that you really start to lose control. But it would be nice if filmmakers could have a little bit of the higher up, levels, their lifestyle, where this could be your job. This could be your income, where you stay here and you don't have to go up higher. First, let's get a little bit of a background here. Kenny, tell us a little about yourself and where they can find you on YouTube or on the web in general.
I'm Kenny Colt of Colt Classic Pictures, and I have a Facebook account and a YouTube channel with the same name, Colt Classic Pictures. So you can usually keep up to date with what I'm doing on the Facebook page, and you can see movies I've kind of retired from the festival on the YouTube page.
And Cody, tell people where you're from.
I'm Cody Loepke, and I'm from Colt Classic Pictures. I'm from Loepke Vision Films, and you can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Facebook, but most importantly, you probably just Google my name, and it'll be a lot easier for you guys to find.
And me by now, obviously, I'm Pozzible. I'm a film critic. I like to consider myself in some ways to be the ear to the indie. Independent filmmakers like Kenny and Cody need someone to know that somebody hears them and someone's watching their stuff. And I like to do that. So I like to keep myself abreast of what independent filmmakers are doing. It's so funny, but in my opinion, everything in life, whether you're a filmmaker or a baker or a sports player, whatever, it all depends on what league you're in. I see things as being a part of certain leagues. You've got the professional leagues that everyone sees. You have the minor leagues where people can play and maybe make a little bit of bank, but not necessarily make it a living. And for the most part, just hang out and play around. And then there's the clubs. The club leagues where people just show up. It's their hobby. And that's the one thing I really don't think you guys really want. You don't want this to be just a hobby for you.
This is not the career to be in if this is a hobby for you. This is a lot of work, and people who come into this and say, okay, this is a hobby, they quickly understand that, I should not be here because this is a lot of work, and you see them drop off. Like I said, or I haven't said this, but I've said it before, but not on here. When I started film, we used to have a 20-man crew, or all of us we're all directors doing this and that. But time goes by and each person drops out because it's wow, this is a lot of work and it's not paying off right now. And a lot of people are I need to see the money now.
And that's not a good, easy place to be in because you really got to pay your dues. You got to earn your way. I think that's the real thing. People. And I hear this more than from filmmakers, from writers.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's face it, one thing I hear about, if you ever want to get a script, just grab the first person you see in California and ask them for their script. You pretty much almost everybody's going to have a script ready to go because that's what they're doing there. They don't want to be, parking cars. They don't want to be flipping the burgers. They want to be full-time writers. You see the J.K. Rowlands,
mm-hmm.
and you see the Stephen Kings, and you want to have that level of success, but that level of success is earned. It's not given, And yes, sometimes you got to get that second job before it really comes in. So that brings us to the real discussion. As an independent filmmaker, how can you get to that level where this could be something that makes you financially independent? Because let's face it, we live in a capitalist society. Money does talk here. And what would be a step you would take to get to that level, in your opinion, Kenny?
Well, that's literally the big question, because we're kind of in an age, it's everything is more ready and available, so
mm-hmm.
everyone can do it.
Yeah. So it's easier and harder.
So it's a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's you have all this technology at your disposal, but now it's okay, well, now that you have all this stuff, how do you get seen now? Because I can make a movie, Cody can make a movie. There's thousands of people on YouTube making videos and movies. So it's how do you stand out from that group? So I can like I said, be in the big leagues, not
mm-hmm.
in this hobby circle.
Well, when we talk about the big leagues, sometimes we're talking about the people who work with Warner Brothers, Disney, Paramount, those real big companies. Lionsgate to me is just beginning to enter the big leagues.
It's my favorite.
I love those guys because they used to do every and anything. I mean, they just distributed. They did exercise videos, horror movies. They were just hoping something would stick, and sometimes something did. They saw somebody made the movie Saw.
Yeah.
Somebody picked it up. The next thing you know, they're making sequels and franchises. But it's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. I remember the Blair Witch Project was a big movie. But right, not long afterwards, the guy who was in the Blair Witch had to go back to moving furniture because he wasn't making any money anymore, And it's all about, I guess, the one myth that I hear about financing is you don't want to be in that area where you get the one paycheck and you're set for life. That's not going to happen in this day and age. And if it does, don't buy any more lottery tickets because your luck's run out. If you ever get to that level, more power to you. But don't expect that kind of lightning to strike twice. What you want to do is be able to find that steady flow. Being able to say, okay, we made one, now let's make the two, now let's make the three, and keep that control. Because that's what happens when you go into the studio. When the studio money comes in, that's nice, but the control gets weakened now. Now they want you to add certain elements because it's their bank that's making this movie possible. And I hear the nightmare stories all the time, So it's that thing. So what would you say would be a plan for getting in with studios, in your opinion? If that's your path,
Well, see, like me, I don't ever plan on making an Oscar movie. I would rather make a cult classic movie. No pun intended to Ken. But I would rather be known for the guy who did,
Transformers.
No, I don't want to be known as the guy who did Transformers.
More artsy than...
No, not artsy. More like
action.
I want to say House in the Woods, but that's not right.
Yeah.
No, the other one.
Oh, Evil Dead?
Evil Dead. I was like, I would rather be the guy that made Evil Dead than the guy who made Tree of Life. That's just how I am.
Well, I know a lot of people are going to blast me for this, but I'd rather see more Evil Deads than... I never even saw Tree of Life with Brad Pitt. A lot of people said it ended horribly, so I avoided it, and it was just a boring movie. It's one of those things that came and went, and, more power to them. I'm very happy they made their movie, but it was not my cup of tea. Is ultimately what it is.
Yeah, and that's the same thing. It's not my cup of tea either. But I'm not going to blast them for doing their art because it's their art. I'm not going to judge them on theirs. But it's just not mine.
Kenny, any thoughts about getting in with the studios or something like that?
See, I dodged the question really well.
That's on camera that you dodged it. Well, see, that's the hard question because even the studios, they have their own independent branches, where they. And then it kind of comes to questions what really is independent anyway, Because if you look at, there are a lot of festivals out there that are independent festivals. You got Phoenix Film Festival. They show a lot of movies, They I don't know their selection process, but I know they have to screen through all these movies and they pick their best. But then you see the ones that are considered more prestigious or bigger, like Sundance. And it's try to find a movie without some sort of A-list, B-list celebrity or director, putting in their control in their feed. So,
Well, that's actually one of the sad things, too, because, back in the day, wasn't Sundance totally about independents and unknowns? And
it was, but, now they get, Sony Pictures gets first dibs in it, and so forth, because they have more money. And you don't know what they're doing. They could be handing them money and this and that.
Right.
Because independence slowly, I feel we still are into independent, but independent just more means the studio, they won't say as much to you, but at the same time they're not going to give you as much money. So it's okay, well, that sounds like a good idea, but we'll only give you a couple million rather than $100 million.
Right.
To do the same thing that you want to do.
Absolutely. That can make sense. And ultimately, in some ways, it comes to supply and demand, where the supply is actually really, really high. There's no shortage of people who can make a movie, especially nowadays with technology. A lot of the stuff that, especially in the 80s and 90s, that only studios could make, editing equipment and films has gotten so much cheaper, so it's everywhere now. That, now you need to really be part of the creme de la creme, which is a shame because it's hard to become the creme de la creme if you don't have the backing. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, a lot of people will go off of YouTube. Like, there's people who do the YouTube route, which I'm not a big fan of. But there could be someone with 1 million views, but a terrible movie. But there could be someone with 3 views and have just a great movie. But no one's going to watch that movie with 3 views because it has 3 views. Let's watch the one with 1 million.
Right.
And then that one gets going. So yeah, it's not even the best of the best that gets a job. It's the politics. It's who knows who, or you just happen to get lucky real fast.
That is true, and that is somewhat kind of a shame because let's face it, we are missing in our generation right now, and the way things are done, talent. We have all those shows where we would just rather see people living their lives like Ed TV, and more Real Housewife shows than I care to acknowledge. Then again, if it was 2 or more, that'd be more than I care to acknowledge. You got the Kardashians, you've got the Honey Boo Boo. Are they still on TV?
Yeah.
I don't even have, never even seen a show of that. That's why I'm such a happy guy. People are like, Pozzible, why are you smiling all the time? Because I don't watch reality TV. I don't have to watch these stupid people and just go crazy and just be like, is this entertainment? No. Give me mystery, give me horror, give me action, give me, something thought out and enjoyable.
This is the time where anyone can be famous. Anyone.
Yeah.
So anyone can be a film critic too. Hint, people. Yeah. But you know what? Speaking of which, now the backing. That's what it all comes back down to. It's like I said, capitalist society. So it comes down to the question of Kickstarter, Indiegogo, things like that. With Kickstarter, you set yourself up. If you don't get the funds, if you don't meet your goal, you don't get the funds. I've heard horror stories on both sides of people who have set up, didn't get their money, but I guess what they did is they started it, which is good because you don't want to start a beginning and then hey, Kickstarter it. No, you want to be more than halfway. One person said you want to be 70% complete before you ask for the money, because that way people will know you're serious and they'll see what you've done so far. That said, there's Indiegogo, and I don't know who Indiegogo is that much, but I know that whatever money you make, you get. So if I set up a goal for $1,000 and I only make $500, they'll give me that $500 or whatever that they have to take out for taxes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you guys have your own opinion on those kind of campaigns. Please to share.
All right. Well, mine is I feel like Indiegogo is more popular right now than what was the other one? Kickstarter. Because I feel like Kickstarter, if this was 2 years ago, then Kickstarter would be the place to go. But now that there's celebrities on it and this and that, no one is really donating anymore. And if they do, they're donating it to the celebrities because they're like, well, hey, I know the celebrity. Someone's going to want to see a movie from Zach Braff before they see a movie from me. So of course they're going to give the movie to Zach Braff over me. I've never done a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo, but I just feel like that's how it would go down. That's why I'm not, I feel like you have to, if you want a successful one, you have to at least build your audience to make sure that audience wants to see you come back and they'll give money to see you come back.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all about building your audience, and right now, it's hard to do that. But if you just got to promote and keep showing your movies at festivals and this and that, or or YouTube, you can do the YouTube route.
Kenny, your thoughts on Kickstarter and Indiegogo?
Well, I don't really think either is really a good option. Because Kickstarter, it's good. If you can pull off a successful campaign, that's good. You have the money, you can make your project. Indiegogo kind of scares me a little more though, because let's say for example, because it happens, you're like, I want $10,000, and then you're like, well, I got $100. Now you're still obligated a movie that you want to do with $10,000 with $100. And not that it's impossible, but sometimes you have people, you give them the money, and then they're gonna freak out. They're gonna I don't know what to do with the $100.
And one of the worst things in some ways, it kind of sets up a scenario with Sony and the Fantastic Four. Back in the day, before the first Fantastic Four movie came out, Sony was just about to lose to rights, so they had to rush a movie and finish it just so that they could keep the rights. Really made me upset because I feel that Marvel and Disney should have all the rights now. Bring everyone home. Spider-Man, because let's face it, wouldn't it be great to see X-Men and Fantastic Four and Spider-Man with the Avengers.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, but the point is, they made this horrible movie, but they had to do something, and that's the thing. Even if you get the $100, I'm sure as long as you met your obligation to the person who donated to you, that's one thing. And that's the ultimate horror story. I mean, ultimately, I fear when it comes to Kickstarter and Indiegogo, I fear more for the contributors than I do for the people who made their stuff, who's putting themselves out there. Don't get me wrong, they're being brave, they're putting themselves out there, they're giving it a chance. But that said, they got to meet these obligations for all these people. I'm sure some people, might get lost in the shuffle because you might get 200 contributors. And even I know, I contributed to a Kickstarter one time, and I had to reach out to them again, saying, "Hey guys, don't forget about me." And they said, "Okay, we're sorry. Here you go." And they were very cordial about it, very understanding. I mean, it was a cheap thing anyway. Ultimately, with Kickstarter, when you're a contributor, what you're going to get is some kind of dime store, dollar store packaging type of thing. But what this stuff all comes down to, and the most important thing, what really ultimately determines your league, in my opinion, it's your brand name. It's branding yourself. So with what we've got, because the internet has leveled the playing field. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, what else? LinkedIn, Pinterest. Let's just go with all the social media we can. The playing, it's easy to get your name out there, but how to rise above the rest is the $1 million question.
Yeah.
Literally the $1 million question.
Yes.
Yeah, and the thing is, a lot of people, like, when you do use those to promote yourself, you can pay them money and they get you more views and this and that, but it's just like, it's so dumb.
You know what?
I think it's so dumb.
Yeah, what it reminds me of, and this is something I saw on CinemaSins, CinemaSins, have you guys heard of them, right? Yeah,
The honest trailers, right?
No, those are the ones that do like everything wrong with.
Everything wrong with, and they're awesome. They actually pulled out somebody on the YouTube channel, and they said that this YouTube channel only got like 100 views, but they've got like 1 million posts, or vice versa. And it's like someone is obviously paying to inflate the thing, because those can be inflated robotically. Those aren't actual people. And what you want is actual people.
Exactly.
But you want actual fans to be following you, and it's not an easy thing. Now, it's not an easy thing for these guys because they're not going to do like I do. I put out 4 or 5 posts a week, cheap little movie reviews for shows that I watch and stuff like that. That's easy for me, and it's easily done. But these guys are actual filmmakers. How long does it take to complete one film?
It depends. It honestly depends. Like, you could do a movie, you could shoot a movie for 2 weeks and then be in post-production. It could take you 2 months to do a movie, or it could take you 2 years to make a movie. It actually depends on what's going on in the person who's in charge of their life. Especially right now, like, you just don't know. It's just like, say Kenny makes a movie tomorrow, but he can't edit it because, hell, he has to go work at, a grocery store to pay for damage to his house because of the rain or something. You don't know,
Well, he's got to eat, It's all about food and gas and supplies and all of this. I mean, let's say, like I said before, it's a capitalist society. We would all love to be doing what we love for a living. But ultimately, you got to pay the pickle man. Pay
the piper.
Pay the piper. Thank you. I don't know what I was thinking of. We all got to pay the piper. So, this brings up an important discussion for independent filmmakers like them, probably like yourself, like someone you know. Is there another way that we haven't thought of? Is there something else you could do? If there is something, please leave a comment in the comment section below on another place you do. No spam. I will delete anything that doesn't lead to something that's actually authentic, because we're all about helping each other. And, for me, I like helping these guys out. I like, like I said, being the ear to these filmmakers. And if you're an independent filmmaker too in the Phoenix area, preferably Chandler, Gilbert, or Tempe, which shouldn't be too hard, ASU. Drop me a line, leave a comment section, or email me at PozzibleMovieReviews.com, and we'll see if maybe we can get together also. But thank you, Kenny.
My name's
For
Cody.
Cody, I have been so messed up with that. Kenny, Cody. Next time, switch places. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you at the theaters.
Don't forget to pay the pickle man.
Yeah, pay the pickle man.